I'm Art Lee, Associate Professor of Information Systems Technology. I've been teaching at Laurel Ridge now for 38 years and am currently the program lead of the IST program.
Hi, my name is Matthew Hansel. I'm a professor at Laurel Ridge. I had a focus on educating the customers, which then pushed me into wanting to educate the students on what they're going to expect in cybersecurity or IT.
My name is Sydney Patton, and I just graduated from Laurel Ridge with an Associate's of Cybersecurity.
The main intent of the IST degree is for a student to be able to acquire the skills that would make them employable right upon graduation at Laurel Ridge, through the degree and also through the career study certificates. The other programs we have at the college, such as cybersecurity and computer science, tend to be more of a transferable degree. A student taking the computer science courses are going to take a series of general education courses that any four-year university would require, but they also get a sampling of computer science courses as well. The cybersecurity program actually is twofold. A student could gain employment through the cybersecurity degree in itself, but they also could transfer to specific universities such as George Mason University. We have a transfer agreement with them through our cybersecurity program.
What industry is looking for in a student coming into an IT career is somebody that first off has great communication skills. We all think of IT as a bunch of people that sit behind a desk and don't communicate. Well, that's a fallacy. We need to be able to communicate. So somebody that knows how to have interpersonal relations, communicate with somebody one-on-one or in a group setting, know how to use email and write properly. That's one of the first things. They have to have the technical skills. Our programs here at Laurel Ridge offer those technical skills, at least at the entry level. As Art may have mentioned, we also want to encourage people to start at the beginning. You're going to start as a support technician, an analyst. You're going to look at the logs. You're going to report the information to the higher-ups to provide them the tools or the information they need to mitigate the issue.
A typical class in the IT program will definitely include hands-on activities. We believe that students learn the best by doing. Any career in the IT field is going to require attention to detail and to not necessarily to know all the answers, but to know how to find the answers and know sometimes who to ask is the best way to approach it.
As part of your IT career, to advance, you're going to have to continue to learn. You're going to have to up your skills all the time. So while Laurel Ridge provides you those skills, you're going to have to continue to learn as well. So you can take what you learned at Laurel Ridge, you can take how you learned to learn and use that to advance your career. You have to continue to skill up. You're going to want to get certifications. Laurel Ridge provides you the basics, but depending upon where you're going to be employed, you may have to get certain certifications that are specific to the industry or the company you're working for.
I was lucky enough to have experience with about all of the ways that you could interact at Laurel Ridge. I had online independent study, I had asynchronous class where we had a weekly Zoom in, and I had in-person classes. One of the advantages to this style of learning is that if one worked for you, you could usually seek that one out. And for me, what worked best was being in person and having that one-on-one relationship with a professor that was able to answer questions in real time and to see the problems and to help you, not just give you the answer, but help you figure out the process to finding the answer. It was about teaching you the process, not just answering the question. I was lucky to have professors that saw in me the potential that I didn't quite see. Imposter syndrome can be a very daunting thing, and to see somebody who's in the industry, who's worked for companies like the FBI, look at you and see the potential, that is a vote of confidence that you just can't get over a computer screen. So I was very lucky to have amazing professors and ones that went out of their way to make sure that I was successful like I wanted to be. One of the greatest resources that Laurel Ridge has is the Cybersecurity Club. I highly recommend anybody that has interest in security or computers join this club because twofold. One, it lets you meet other students that are pursuing these careers. You're going to learn different ways to do things, because as we learn, there's not just one way to do any skill. So you're going to learn different ways to look at problems and solve. And you're also going to get experience that's invaluable. You are going to be able to compete. The competitions are basically puzzles. Through the challenges, you gain a sense of your actual ability, things that you don't realize you know that you were able to do and complete in something that can actually be applied to a career that you're going to do. That is an amazing feeling, and you get that in a situation where it's low stakes and it's fun and you've got team members there with you, so you're not alone. It is an amazing experience that I highly recommend anybody join.
Okay, jobs in our service region range greatly from software development, from networking. Networking is a huge demand in our area. The typical the way students become employed in our area oftentimes is really through an internship or some type of entry-level position. Could be a help desk position, but then that's where students can then prove their worth and prove their value to a company, and then can advance within a company.
So one of the greatest experiences I've had is the ability to watch these students go through the program, graduate, and then come back to Laurel Ridge and contact myself or other instructors and say, hey, look where I'm at now. Thank you for giving me the opportunity in your classroom to learn these skills, because these skills have gotten me into a penetration testing job, or a systems analyst job, or a cybersecurity network engineer job. So that is one of the most rewarding things, and that's one of the reasons that I've gotten into teaching as well.
One of the real benefits that students find once they're in our program is that we have what I maintain as a job opportunities listing, and what that simply becomes is current jobs and or internships that students can take advantage of. I encourage students, even when they're first starting the program, even though they may not be ready for a job right then, to start looking at those jobs listings so they can see the skills and the requirements that are necessary in our service region. In our service region, we have lots of different opportunities, from very small companies to very large companies. Large companies like Valley Health, for example, is a big employer of many of our students. And then we have the smaller 8 to 10 type of business that students can take advantage of as well. So it's a very wide range in terms of opportunities.
I actually was part of the G3 funding, which allowed me to get my associate's degree here at Laurel Ridge for practically free. That is an amazing resource that really lifted that burden from me and allowed me to be able to do things like extracurricular activities and learn the leadership. So the grant has been an amazing thing, and I am transferring to Shenandoah, which required an additional couple classes that weren't part of the original core SEC. So I was able to also get a grant through the Laurel Ridge Foundation that allowed me to take those classes here at Laurel Ridge and get them done and transfer them in. And that's part of what makes Laurel Ridge so wonderful, because they saw that there was this need and found me the correct thing to pair so that I wouldn't have the burden of financial debt when I transfer on.